and the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under it.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lesson.
Young
Peace.
TV.
This is a 1110 Born Again on the Noriega, Contras, and CIA affairs. Criminal Betrayal. That's the title of this one. Noriega, Contras, and CIA affairs. This is about government criminal behavior, and it's reflective of the government acting contrary to the will of the people. There's nobody's responsibility other than the people to deal with a rogue government. The rogue government is the Rouge government, as in the Moulin Rouge, as in the old New Orleans red light district Moulin Rouge, right? Red House, we talking Republican Party, the elephant, symbol of the matriarchy. To Noble Drew Ali to remember, the elephant is our friend, but nobody trusts a jackass because they're going to do some foolish stuff that's going to cause problems for other than itself. And sometimes it does this to its own detriment. And so we heard about Iran-Contra. We know that it was about Contras in Nicaragua going to war with a government being backed by strongman Manuel Noriega in a bid to establish a governmental coup to overthrow the Nicaragua regime that was belligerent and oppressive to the people, the same as the government of America is belligerent and oppressive to the people. Now, remember, the Iran-Contra affair, the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, and a couple of the Joint Chiefs of Staff all got caught red-handed. That's the red hand over the native mouth of the indigenous woman that represent the ones with the dirty hand that tried to silence the mouth of the organic Aboriginal women of the land. The tribes remind us by painting over their mouth the hand that is the dirty hand. The blood is on the hand of the one who covered the mouth of the tribal mothers. And when they suffocated the voice of the matriarchy, they left a trail of tears in their wake. And in the trail of tears, they rolled out the dolls. Let that sink in. They rolled out the dolls, as in Dominique dolls, the gymnasts, because they was flipping us out and flipping somebody else in, using paperwork as a means of altering the identification of the tribes of the land, the clans, the cliques, the families, the gangs, the outlaws. And so the codes come in pop culture for the ones that know the tribal traditions to read the culture. Point out the significant event to the clans, then they remember, oh snap, it's the Treaty of the Hat. Why we didn't know that it was the Treaty of the Hat in the secret society reenactment of the KKK versus the Omegas. The Omega is the great mother, and the symbol for Omega looks like an upside down horseshoe, but what it really is an open womb, because the mother is bearing a child called an alpha. So the alpha comes forth and proceeds from the Omega. That means the end was already present before the beginning was born. And this is how you got the alpha male from the Omega mother. Because the self-created God is a metaphor for the God that was created by the great mother without the aid of a man, as told in the holy drama, the part about the prince, Heru, who's rising to power to confront his uncle, Set. That's Lord Set. Set, E-N, is Lord in the ancient tongue of the Middle East. So Set-N, or Satan, is Lord Set, the rogue uncle, which is the rouge uncle, which is the red uncle. And Noble Drew Ali said, your uncle will sell you into slavery, but your daddy won't. He said, remember, the elephant is our friend. That's the matriarch. Then across town, they setting up the shrine of the Black Madonna. Right? This became one of the most preeminent purveyors of information in the community that we never talked about. They have a branch in Detroit, and I think they got another one somewhere in Texas, in Houston or Dallas. Right? So, when they showing us the story in the theatrical performance of the hip-hop culture, pay attention when they say they not like us, they not like us. Remember DMX say they don't know who we be. But just because they don't know who we be don't mean we don't know who we be. So the rhetorical directive, meaning the BS to feed us, is to tell us we from an alternate destination from the point of our origination in order to create a separation between the ones who belong here and the ones who came to replace them. So when the artist is telling you it's playing out in politics and world affairs as the invading Israeli force genetically annihilating the people that was already on the land before 1945. We got to remember the Mossad created Hamas. The CIA created ISIS under the directive of Barack Obama. Why are they doing this? They creating their own opposition in order to remind you of what they did when they came over here. Good cop, worse cop. Right? Then they play this game of grand deception to have us believing that things are other than what they actually are, and the public fall for it because they good actors. Life jackers. Sticking babies in the state pen so they can get raped and turned out by some grown-ass men. The wrong that they in deserves hell's full fury, black mass execution without a jury. So, Manuel Noriega was the head of state. Remember this, because when they go into Israel, they gonna cry foul. But they done it to Noriega. There's no way that they would have came over here and got, at the time, I think it was George Herbert Walker Bush, for his criminal activities in collusion with the same person that he authorized the military to go get. Then he end up in Europe and they go through this long extradition thing. But what they don't tell you is this. Manuel Noriega was an ally to the United States. And Bush, as the former director of the CIA, had already slid up under them in the 70s to finance them to come to power because they was trying to prevent a repeat of the Cuban Revolution. They all told us this, but we wasn't paying attention, and now I pointed out you can go back and review it. The government is not supposed to engage in criminal activities. They're not supposed to run a criminal enterprise solely for the purpose of trapping the individual up in the criminal enterprise. But this is exactly what they done under COINTELPRO. Noriega's co-defendants was George Herbert Walker Bush, Ronald Wilson Reagan, Oliver North, and I forget, there was another guy. He had a goofy name like Doofendiger or something. But they was all co-defendants. Now watch this for honor among thieves. When the Iran-Contra blew up out of L.A. behind the Ricky Ross investigation, right? Because the government was running the criminal enterprise, because Ricky Ross was also these niggas' co-defendant. A lot of y'all don't know this because they wasn't tried at the same time in the same venue, in the same court. Noriega was tried in absentia while he was running from the military assassination squads who would rather have executed him than brought him in to stand trial. Noriega trial was sealed for a long time. I don't even know if it's been released because it came out in his trial that he was working in concert with George Herbert Walker Bush, Ronald Wilson Reagan, Oliver North, the DEA, and Central Intelligence, and the guns for hostages Iran portion of the Iran-Contra scandal. So while they doing this is supposed to be the government of the people, for the people, and by the people, but they doing everything to put people in peril. If the things that this government was doing to other countries, if other countries attempted to do the same thing back to this country, this government that's actually a corporation masquerading as a government would have blew their ass off the map. They didn't want individuals to become self-sufficient, especially the original tribes of the lands wherever we were. Whether we was in Jamaica, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Croix, Haiti, Dominica, they turned us against each other with infiltrators that look like us, that's not us. They slide in because they speak the language of the side they infiltrating, but they operating with the same mission directive as the infiltrator speaking the language of the other side that they infiltrating. We was unaware at the earliest stages of this that when we kept failing at all of our efforts to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, that it was some people that look like us that keep stealing our goddamn boots and pointing to somebody that don't look like us, screaming thief. And they the ones told the people that don't look like us to stand right here and I'll be right back. So when we all come out, they concealing our boots in a duffel bag, but they pointing to the pale face they got standing at the post on the corner screaming, "Stop thief." So now we all mad at the wrong MFs. We mad at the wrong people. Look, if you go back to Denmark Vesey, he was told on by somebody that looked like us. If you go to Gabriel Prosser, he was told on by somebody that looked like us. If you go and read the story of Nat Turner, fictional or not, in the story of Nat Turner, he was told on by somebody that looked like us. Prince Hall was working as an apprentice to a traveling man. What that means in layman's terms is his boss was a Freemason. And as an apprentice, he began to observe, this my shit. Why is this motherfucker doing my shit and using it against me? So he said, okay, tit for tat. You knocked me, motherfucker. I'm going to knock you back. Now remember, Prince Hall is establishing the Blue Lodge fraternal brotherhood in the community of people that look like us. So he go to get a charter, and we thought that the people he went to get the charter from that was hiding in Philadelphia and that was hiding in New Jersey that turned him down We thought that they was pale faces. But we discovered when Noble Drew Ali come around that they wasn't pale faces. So what did Prince Hall do? Prince Hall traveled to London and got a charter from the Scottish Rite, which is the Red House, Freemasonic Lodge, to authorize him, because there was no Blue Lodge elders ranked high enough to give him the charter to practice under the Freemasonic protection over here, that was willing to give him a chance to build a brotherhood amongst us on the land. They didn't want that to happen. And this is why it's a stark difference in when the minister give the story of Hiram Abiff. He tell the pale-faced Shriners and Masons about their secret. But then he say to you so-called black Masons, this ain't got nothing to do with you because you ain't got no secret to keep. The secret that was the bloody oath of the papacy, which was the 200-year George Washington conjure, which was the agreement between Semyaza and the so-called fallen ones. It's all the same fucking agreement, replayed in cycle after cycle after cycle, until one of us figure it out that they keep playing the same game on us, in our face, making fun and mockery of us, while they're running this game on us, with all the players playing the game out openly as if they living their life. So Noble Drew Ali said, I put all of the secret society's secrets into the public domain. The niggas that betrayed him, that was his mufti staff, look like us. That let the police, they fed him to the police because there was no resistance when they came to get him. Knowing how militant they were in that era, we don't understand it because we in a different era. That if the police would have came and got Noble Drew Ali and he was not infiltrated, it would have been war in the streets. Period. The police was not the police you see today. They was more closer to a band of rogue KKK riders on the plantations of the South than they was with this well-organized machine that takes in all ethnic groups. It was not the same. So when Noble Drew Ali was being stalked, he was being stalked by some people called Moorish Zionist Jews. We call them dirty Moors. And we know the difference between the dirty Moors and the righteous Moors. People believe because I have no mercy for the dirty Moors, that mean I don't got no love for the righteous Moors, and nothing can be further from the truth. The Contra War required a catch turn for two different groups of people that looked similar, but they was from different stocks. They was from different backgrounds. The only way you gonna know them from us is they will sell their mama, we'll hurt you about ours. And they will sell their children, and we'll kill you about ours. Them is the easiest tests to determine the difference between them and us. They understanding of loyalty is not what our understanding of loyalty is. They think that you being disloyal if you don't tolerate they bullshit. If you don't tolerate they backbiting, they gaslighting, then you the enemy. That's not the enemy. The one that's doing the dirt, that's trying to play innocent victim while they doing the dirt. While you trying to be straight up across the board with people, they trying to swerve you, and then they think because you being kind to them that they actually found a sucker. Never knowing that they was the ones being baited in the whole time for trying to take your kindness for weakness. So, you don't tell everybody everything you know, because it puts you at a disadvantage. If you want to win, you got to use strategic silence so that your silence can elicit more information than you have to tell a motherfucker something. This was wrong with relationships. The sisters think that because they've been taught this by the enemy's women, that you always got to tell a motherfucker something. You ain't got to tell a motherfucker shit. You don't owe a motherfucker a description, an explanation, an analysis, a correction. You don't owe nobody none of that. But you volunteer and give it under the pretense of, I got to tell a motherfucker something. You always need people to know what you thinking. Therefore, you can't figure out why you can't advance. They know the type of person you is. They don't say loose lips sink ships just because it sounds slick. It's not just a catchy phrase. Look, this is one of the reasons I hate social media so bad. The information that I'm giving up, I don't mind giving it up to the people that want it. It's the people that don't want it, don't respect it, and can't understand it. It's above their pay grade. It's above their disciplinary study level. And they want to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. They want me to keep giving them retarded references of secret society brotherhood after sorry reference of secret society brotherhood without ever acknowledging them niggas is all part of the brotherhood. I'm not supposed to acknowledge that and just continuously push these people references as if this is the actual facts, when all the time they telling you, these same people, history is a lie agreed upon. Who agreed on this shit? I didn't write that shit. Right? History is written by the victors who won. And what story do the victors tell to keep the ones they conquered from ever rising up, overthrowing their conqueror? They got to make them feel party to the cause. They got to make them feel patriotic. I'm not patriotic. I'm matriotic. I'm mama's boy. But I'm still my daddy's son. You got to make sure you understand that. Because just because I'm my mama's boy don't mean that I won't bounce your ass like a grown-ass man supposed to if you need to be bounced. It's not personal. I don't go out looking for bullshit. But when they bring the bullshit to Big Mama house, I'm going to be the worst one to correct it, but I might not be the first one. I'm going to be the worst one. Because whatever I decide, I'm coming in on 10. And the reason I'm coming in on 10, Because they only going to call me when they done exhausted 1 through 9 already. And my birthday is 11/10. And this video started at 11/10. You do the math. Speak the truth, shame the devil, and awaken the masses. Y'all got to be able to shake free the paralysis of analysis, as Ray Hagen says. Shake from the slumber of King Goo, as Malachi wrote about. Rise up from under the 200-year challenge of George Washington, knowing exactly what side of the water you belong. Don't be offended by the ones who say they belong on the other side, because they might be right. But you don't let them tell you where you belong when you know where you belong. It's always methods to the madness, but some people get so caught up in the madness that they overlook the method, therefore they can't follow the process, and then they end up processed. The play on words and the witty wordplay is how they've been playing on our intelligence the whole time, with they legalese and double speak in the political arena. They talking 2 different languages and they laughing at you because you only talk 1. But then when we started talking Ebonics, they slammed an alarm and went into an all-out frenzy to try to teach people in the educational system how to translate Ebonics so the slave master will know if we plotting this overthrow or not. We was plotting, motherfucker, and you overthrew now. We was plotting with Ebonics and the Swahili and the Nuwapu and the banger's tongue, what they call your click lingo. We was plotting. Y'all lost. We won. Big Mama Boys is ready. Big Mama's Girls is ready. We all want to put our foot in somebody's ass, so we starting to get impatient now. And we done been being excessively patient for an extended period of time, trying to put this new world in its proper order. Because we not finna go up under the cabal. We not finna be part of none of them bullshit shenanigans that they want to run on the regular people to usurp their freedoms and their liberty as a sovereign being to walk the earth. We gonna retain our sovereign status by surrendering our nationality. We gonna retain our sovereign status by surrendering our nationality. And all of them slave catchers is trying to convince you to get the nationality. Ask them who is superior, the sovereign or the national. Soon as he tell you the national is superior, you know he a slave catcher. He might not even know he's slave catcher. That's the sad part. But remember, they look like us. They not us. They hide behind pale faces to block us out the institutions. So Big Mama invited a bunch of friendly pale faces to kick the doors of the institutions and to roll the information out into the public domain, so we don't ever have to go into their institutions to get it. All we got to do is be willing and able to do what's required as our portion of the family business, because all parts of the family is doing they parts of the family business according to their skill set, their knowledge base, and their performance ability. Everybody's going to be successful because ain't nobody going to take up something that they not versed enough in to come out victorious. And we all working together even though we working separate. We can't all do the same thing at the same time and try to get a result when you got an enemy that's watching you at every turn. You got to have different people take on the problem from a different perspective, and the person that can tie all of the perspectives together get to read the picture to the people and tell you exactly what it say. And at this point, after Mother's Day, it's all over. It's all over. Now, how they gonna roll it out, what it's gonna look like, I can't tell you the details. I'm just showing you the connected dot pictures before the crayons even get on the page. Crayons ain't even on the page, so you ain't got no color to this connected dots. I just connected all of the dots. So you looking at a silhouette in black and white. You ain't looking at a full color picture, or what we call a 3D play out. But once you know what the black and white picture look like, the 3D layout doesn't alarm you anymore, because you say, oh yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. It got to happen that way, right? Storms and earthquakes, floods in diverse places, all the timekeepers watching the stellar events. The almanac writers know from the stellar events what the weather pattern is. With no modern AI intelligence, they've been doing almanacs for thousands of years in the temples, in the pyramid temple priesthoods, in the Vatican temple priesthoods. So if you go get an old almanac and it tell you that it's going to rain on December 31st at 2:15, the only thing that could be altered in that almanac when it comes time to rain is it could get a little bit colder and turn into snow or sleet. But they already can tell from the stellar events and the magnetic movement of the major planets how it affects the weather patterns on the earth. This is where they even came up with an idea of creating weather manipulation. The whole purpose of weather manipulation ain't what people think it is. It's to confuse you about time. They want to confuse you about time. All time is you have to have spacers in order to map out a procession. The spacers tell you where the steps go. Just like they teach the $5 Indians how to do Crip walk by numbers, but the Crips know how to do it by feeling. They're not going to look the same. They're not going to move the same. Because it's in somebody's DNA, and then the other people, it's just in their memory from being rote knowledge. It ain't what they soul know. But that second line stutter step, you can't just do that. It look easy until you start trying to do that shit and you realize only way somebody do this is they got to have it in their blood, because they learning it too early for it to only be taught to them by step. You got 2 and 3 year olds on the second line with their feathers on, strutting down the street and following that pattern, that dance step that comes from their soul. Right in step with the old lady. The 2-year-old and the old lady that's 80-something years old, both doing this second line stutter step the same. And this not in your soul. They don't even know each other. But when they break out with that Mardi Gras music and they start strutting up that street to remind us of the great procession, which is the procession of the matriarchy. But we don't know this because we don't know our history, where we used to all dress up for the celebrations. They got y'all thinking that every day we walked around with feathers in our head, like some goddamn goofies. They don't even know that shit ceremonial garb. Man, we was wearing denim, cotton-made cloth for clothes. We was wearing clothes made out of leather and animal pelts. We wasn't running around with no goddamn feathers on a day-to-day basis. That's ceremonial dress. Nobody wore that shit every day. But they had you believing we lived in teepees too. That's the same as you catching some niggas camping saying that you caught them living in the tent. We was on our way to the Gullah Wars. We had to have the tents to set up camp on route. We didn't allow the land to be spoiled by the devices of man over here like it is now. So they came over here and they did their thing. Yeah, we did. We used hemp to make fabric as well. We use hemp for so much shit, they said we got to ban this or we ain't going to never sell no plastic. Look, you can make a quality plastic out of hemp that's biodegradable and friendly to the environment, and it looks just like the plastic that they make from DuPont. It's just as sturdy and durable. The only thing is it don't take 275 years for it to break down and decay. Yeah, we was in the... Look, our craftsmen believed in quality above all other things, and that's called putting your pride in your work, right? So everything we did, we took care to do it correctly and to do it as best as the skill set that we have developed will allow every time. And we know that every time we perform the task, we're going to get better because practice makes perfect. You can't never attain perfection without the practice required to hone in the faculty, the skill, right? Some people with talent, but talent can only take you so far if you don't develop the skill to accentuate it. No, I won't be there. My finances was not, I hadn't recovered from my Florida trip financially to take the trip to Philly, so I won't be able to make it. Yeah, perfect practice makes perfect performance. Yeah, in my literature, we got something known as the 5 P's. Preparation prevents poor performance. Right? This is something that we use as a guideline to the endeavors that we are about to engage in. If you understand what properly preparing for something, it looked like a miracle when you manifest what you prepared yourself to perform to perfection. The proper preparation of a thing is preventative of poor performance. Right? But it's the same way that proper preparation prevents the poor performance. Perfect performance is performed from proper preparation. It's a two-way street. It's just like Moore's got a saying, man finds himself where he solves his problems best. I said, that sounds almost right. But I think it's man solves his problems best where he finds himself. Because only once you discover the self will you be qualified to be your best version of problem solver. People want a successful life, but if it comes to them putting a plan together, they fall apart. Think about that. You want success, but when it comes time to put a plan together, you fall apart. That means you plan to fail, because the plan to fail is the failure to plan. It's almost guaranteed. And the work don't always have to be hard, Kali Kai. the work can be consistent. And you can make what was a hard job yesterday an easier job today once you can perform it better. Almost everything you do, when the first time you do it, is difficult. But the more you do it, it becomes more manageable and you become more effective in getting it done. So, Manuel Noriega, he the head of state. The Geneva Convention prohibits the capture of a head of state because they are the ones that's supposed to negotiate the conclusion to the military conflict we call war. When Ronald Reagan, Oliver North, and George Bush got caught, by this time, the CIA had already started Ronald Reagan on his Alzheimer's inducing medications to suppress his memory. See, and then they forced his wife to give him that shit because they told her if he start to run his mouth, then the next time the assassin won't miss. So Nancy got to keep Ronnie sedated. George Bush assumed the responsibilities of the president in Ronald Reagan's second term, go almost about a year into the term. By this point, Ronnie don't know his asshole from his appetite. And so they get knocked on the Iran-Contra. And instead of them being captured by the JAG and taken into the military tribunals for using government office to sell firearms to the known enemy, which is in violation of the Trading with the Enemies Act. Now, you got to go back, you can look it up on YouTube and review the Iran-Contra hearings that they was having. It's going to blow your mind that the highest officials of government on the land at the time is trading military munitions to the enemy that allegedly held Americans hostage during the Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan debate period of the election, the campaign. Why ain't nobody campaigning now? I seen Brother Collide ask the question I asked last year and the year before. Normally, midway through the second term, the president and his number one opponent be doing debates and all kind of shit. Y'all ain't seen no presidential debate. Y'all haven't heard a rumor that they gonna have a presidential debate. What's going on with your presidency? These criminals are being rounded up. Look, somebody sent me a picture, a video. The video had the bodies that was being rolled off of the plane. And nobody didn't know what that was. That's them people that been being executed in Guantanamo Bay, being brought back stateside. Some of them gonna have funeral services, but a lot of them not. Many of them just gonna be burn that motherfucker up, throw his ashes out to sea. Peace, deuces to you, fuck you in your motherfucking horse you rode in on, you rotten motherfuckers. So they showing us the receipt, but they not always telling us what the receipt is. So the order to arrest Noriega is the equivalent to that order. This is the what you call the comparative analysis or the paradoxical view. The president, vice president are ordering the military to capture him, and he's held up refuge with asylum by the Catholic Church. It's the same as your co-defendant in a criminal case in federal court Send the sheriff department to go arrest you over in Canada to make sure you get prosecuted for the crime y'all did together. The crime that you was goaded into by the same motherfuckers that's coming to get you. And there's a legal term called entrapment. And this is what that is. It's entrapment when the government manufacture a whole criminal enterprise just to lure you in and charge you with a criminal act. This is how they ran COINTELPRO to get people like Larry Hoover, to get people like Angel Bay, to get all of the chiefs off the land, to wrongfully convict people that they know they wrongfully convicting before they ever arrested them. They knew they didn't have a just cause, but remember, we at war. They know it, we don't. They never told us outright that they was attacking us the way they were. But they was performing every activity of a warring agency upon the people that you could believe. Look, y'all might not believe what I'm about to tell y'all. Y'all might not believe this crap, this shit here. This is some real shit. Criminal Bureau of Justice statistics. Police shoot more pale faces than they do us. Why all our shit turn into rebellious celebrations of idiots? Where you bring in your Reverend Al Sharptons and Jesse Jacksons to tell us to be calm, and they killing more of the other color than they is of us. Why we got to be sensationalized as the permanent victim every time something happens? They got to make us be the victims that don't have the self-control to throw these motherfuckers in jail. Only they got the self-control. They got to stir our emotions up with malice green. They got to get us to riot